Let's cover some control and looping basics in PowerShell. Hey there, this is Tom with Tom's Tech Show, and today I've gone over quite a few different scripts and different things in PowerShell, and a lot of those have had, different ways to control the program flow, different loops, different ways of going through different things, and I thought I would just cover some of those today so we can kind of see how those work. Just kind of get back to a little basics in PowerShell and how to do some of these things. So let's get over here. We got a window. Okay, so one thing we're going to do is we've got a list of colors. So I've got colors red, green, blue, white, dark blue, and gray. So now I want to print those onto the screen. So I'm going to do a simple loop like this. So what this does, there's a for each, and I use this a lot. I'll have a list. This is like just an array. Color list is just an array of things that I have, right? It can be actually an array of objects. So there can be sub-objects in there, especially when you're pulling things out of AWS. You can have instances, and underneath that list of instances, there's actually all the different parts and components of that instance. So if you want to go through each instance, you can do that and in a for each and pull that out. But right now we've got a color list, and we're going to do something with each color. And I'm just going to right host the color using the foreground color, which is the actual color. So that's going to end up looking like that. So now we've got red, green, blue, white, dark blue, and gray. So that kind of outputs like that. So it allows me to go through a list of different things. So next, maybe I want to do something different with these. And you can use a switch statement. So switch allows you to take a value, and based on that value, you can do different functions. So if my color is red, I'm going to write out that I found red. If it's blue, I'm going to write out found blue. If it doesn't have any match, then it's going to do the default. Okay. So this is pretty useful when you have different processes that you want to do. You can actually make these giant, different processes. Like I do a switch based on what process I'm doing when I'm, building something in AWS. Am I building a CloudFormation? Am I building an Elastic Beanstalk? Am I building, just a regular EC2 instance? Am I building, a load balancer, a VPC, or any of those different things? So I do a switch based off of those items, and then that allows me to run specific code for each thing that I'm doing based off of one value. So if I run that, now we've got red, which shows the found red, the green, which is a miss, blue, which I found blue, white, miss, dark blue, miss, all these other are misses. So I can tell that it found those items and ran that piece of code. So now what we also use is if statements, right? We all know if a certain value is what we want, then we're going to perform some type of function. Okay, so here's some if code. So if my color is green, then we're going to write out a little box that says okay. If the color is white, then I'm going to, well, I don't really need that right now. Okay, that's extra. Okay, so if the color is green, so you notice here that this is EQ. So if you're writing things in too many different programming languages, different ones will use, some will actually use the, an actual equal sign. Sometimes it's the equal sign. Sometimes you have to put two equal signs. So, and greater than, equal, less than, greater than, equal, not equal. Well, PowerShell uses, of course, a dash and an EQ. So, or if you want it to be not equal, there's a, greater than, different things. So we're using EQ. So there's a whole list of those in the PowerShell reference for how those work. Now, when I get to the color green, we're going to print out this box. So I don't know if any of you ever did any like scripting, text scripting, batch file scripting and stuff way back in the day. You'll know that there's these little ASCII characters that help you to form little boxes. And we're kind of getting back to that with some things in PowerShell. So we run that and it actually shows green and this little green OK box because that if statement found the green there. Now you can also do an else and put another statement after that if you want. So if it's this color, then do this. If it's not, then do something else. So we can have it do a write host and just put a dot, right? I can do that. So if it's not green, so then we'll get a bunch of little dots in between the ones that are not green. So you can see we're controlling different things, and each of these things are, you can see you can nest all of these things, which is kind of what I'm doing. So now we can also do this, which is a do. We could do a do. So do that. So we're doing this until k equals 1. So up here I'm going to make my k value equal 0. So it's going to do all of this inside for a do loop. It's going to do all this code until my k value equals 1. So that's where I'm going to put this. I'm going to make this gray so it runs all of it. So as it runs through here, the thing about a do loop, as opposed to, so if I'm doing an if, it's only going to run this portion of code if that value is true. If I'm doing a for each, if my list is empty, it's not going to run any of the code. If I'm doing some of the other different types of loops, they don't guarantee that the code is run at least once. So with a do statement, it's going to come in here and it's always going to run this branch of code until it hits the bottom test. So if I want to make sure something runs once, and then if there's more to run, then I can do it again, then I use a do loop. Okay, so this is actually only going to run one time. So boom, and it should be the same. So that's one loop through. I'm actually going to take this else out just to save some space on the screen. Okay, so now if I have this equal 2, then this is going to run twice. So we get 2 little OKs and 2 all that stuff. So that makes it run through there twice. So we're going to set this back to 1, and we're going to indent again because I got another loop that I'm going to be putting in here, and that is a while. Okay, so now I've added a while loop outside of my do loop. So a while loop does the test before the code is run. So it may not run this code, right? Which is different from the do loop, which runs the code until it does the test. So the do loop, again, will execute the code once. The while loop will do the test, and only if the test is true will it run the code. Okay, so let's run this. So we've got our Q down here where we increment Q. We start with Q being 0. So while Q is less than 2, we're going to run the code. We're going to increment Q. We're going to print the Q value, and then we're going to go back and do the code again. Okay, so let's run that. Boom. Okay, so we're running the code. We go through, Q is 1. We run the code again, Q is 2, and then we exit. So that's a while loop. Okay, so with all this stuff, you can put together basically any kind of structure that you want. There are a few other different types of structure that are there, but these are the majority of the ones that I use. While, do, for each, switch, and if statements are kind of the basic things that you're going to use in doing control structure in PowerShell code. All right. right, well, there you go. If you have any questions about how PowerShell coding works, just let me know. The nice thing about it is with the new PowerShell core, you can take this same code, and I've done it quite a few times, and run it either on Windows or Mac or Linux. You can run it on anything that you want, which is kind of nice because I can prototype things, quickly on a Windows box and push that to AWS, and then run it on a Linux box and still be able to run the same code and make it function, the same. So that's kind of nice. All right. Well, if you have any questions or anything else, put them down below. I'll try and answer them. And thanks for watching this. Take care.